We've got like a huge packed show for you today, but I did want to briefly talk about something here up front, and we'll take an early first break, and then I just have a ton of stuff planned for the Friday show today. I want to follow up about the ranked choice voting conversation. To reset the question, I've been talking about ranked choice for a while, and one of the ways that I think we can get third parties more involved and to be more viable in the United States would be by some kind of ranked choice voting, where by virtue of voting for the third party candidate, you don't potentially end up inadvertently helping the candidate that you really don't want to see win the race, right? Where by voting for example, the Green Party, you might actually be helping the Republican win, even though your second choice would be the Democrat. That's like the classic example. And when we talked, I guess it was a week or two ago, about normal ranked choice or instant runoff voting, where you basically just rank the candidates in the order of your preference. You say, here's my number one choice. If they don't win, I want the number two, etc. There are two sort of main complaints with that style of ranked choice voting. One, and I don't think this is really a big issue, is that your vote gets moved around from one candidate to another, and there are people who say it violates one person, one vote. I actually don't think that's a strong argument against normal ranked choice instant runoff voting, because effectively each person only gets one vote per round, right? Yes, it gets shifted around from one candidate to another, but ultimately your vote counts once in the final tally. For me, the bigger issue with standard instant runoff ranked choice voting is that the winner can end up being the candidate that doesn't have anybody's first choice vote. In other words, the winner might be people's top second, third, and fourth choice, no one's top first choice, and someone nobody actually wanted to be the person as their first choice ends up winning the race. There's a very interesting alternative called a single transferable vote. And I know I'm going to get emails from people saying, David, what you're describing as one is actually the other, and so on and so forth. A lot of these concepts have multiple names when you research them. So this is what, for today's discussion, I'm calling single transferable vote. In this system, the candidates who aren't viable, who have the fewest first place votes, get removed first. And instead of the vote moving sort of down the ballot from top, second, third, fourth, it moves up. So the first thing would be, which candidate has the fewest first place votes? That person is eliminated. So you immediately get rid of the possibility that the eventual winner is the person with zero or the fewest first place votes. Then you do the next tally, and the next least viable candidate is eliminated. So you get rid of the person who now has, of the remaining of the second round, the fewest first place votes. This would resolve the issue of eventually getting to someone who has the fewest first place votes, because you can no longer win with the fewest first place votes, but the most third, fourth, and fifth place votes. It's sort of difficult to explain. I don't even know that I've done a good job of it, but it's a very interesting idea that I've been reading more and more about. And I want to hear your thoughts about it. Could this solve the problem that exists in the sort of traditional instant runoff ranked choice voting of potentially crowning is literally the wrong term since we're not talking about a king, but inaugurating a candidate who had the fewest first place votes of all the candidates? I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Sorry for the short first segment, but we just have so much else to get to today. I want to get the first break out of the way, and then we're going to dive into a lot more stuff. Glad you're with us today. This episode is sponsored in part by BetterHelp.com/Pakman, which gives you access to a fully licensed and experienced psychologist or therapist through video, phone, and text. I know from the emails I get that in our audience, like in the broader world, there are people who are struggling with different issues in their lives, and many of them choose not to talk to somebody about it, either for financial reasons, for reasons of stigma associated with seeking out a therapist. And I think it's really important to do everything you can to get past that, because it's really important to talk to someone when you feel like that's the right thing to do. And what BetterHelp.com provides is, number one, the elimination of the stigma that could be associated with it. You work through video, phone, whichever method is best for you. You also will be able to save money compared to seeing an in-person therapist. And it is so easy to get started that I encourage you to go to betterhelp.com/Pakman. A few questions that you answer, which will get you paired up with a therapist that meets your needs. You can always switch to somebody else if you don't feel as though the match is a good fit. And it is something that everybody should have access to. Go to betterhelp.com/Pakman. It's easy to sign up. It's easy to get started. We've put a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And once again, that website is betterhelp.com/PAKMAN.